In 2020, the company STI has been rebranded to the name of Stacatto themselves. Their heart of base is in Texas. At the same time, is 25% veteran actually led by for the projects themselves. They're also law enforcement approved as their actual everyday carry, and as well to that, a lot of other citizens would consider this their best concealer weapons. Now, with the new branding of the company themselves, and at the same time a new design for their weapons, what are they like? Well, let's talk about the Stacattos in the airsoft industry. Hey, what's up guys, and welcome back to another episode on Airsoft Master. And today we're going to be talking about is the Stacatto 2011 by EMG. Now, one thing that I like about all these we have is the fact that you have many options out there. The two models I have in front are the Stacatto XT and the P, with many options of either picking what grip would you like. You have the Master, the VIP, or the 3M style versions. And as well to that, the selection of whether being CO2 or green gas, which would change the slide itself being either CNC or standard. But let's actually go into more depth of the actual slide itself. Mainly that the fact that it is exaggerated lightning cuts on the front and end of it to help out with cycling, whether your personal style of re-racking or reloading. As well to that, it comes with the actual tall suppressor sights that you'll see with the fiber optic to be a better acquisitions for your backup, including the fact that if you were to put an RMR red dot like we put here on the displays. But as well to that, it also comes with the regular type of RMR non-grip style if you want to put that on there just to play it as simple but keeping your suppressor sights. Little attention details that you want to put, and depending on that, how more accurate of your build as your staccatos you want to be. When it comes to more attention to detail with the actual upper slide itself, let's go more in depth of the frame as we notice a lot of things that come to mind and outstand it to make it more of the staccato. Focusing more on the left hand side is the actual Stacatto insignia with the 2011 on the mark for the actual model of the pistol itself, and as well what type of model you have being the P. What makes it more interesting and accurate to regards of regulation and also more patriotic than ever is the American flag on the right hand side. Now, one thing I will say that comes to mind that's actually interesting and also pretty clever is the American flag has the stars in front as if like you would wear as a patch on your right arm, meaning that the fact that it actually follows the regulations of military or even law enforcement that the stars will always be in front and then the stripes after. Really clever on that point. Now for the grip itself, one thing that also comes to mind is how very aggressive for either type of style grips you want to use on different types of model. For example, on the Texture VIP grip itself, even though it's not stippled or anything else, it's still a nice, comfortable setup, and at the same time, less chances of you slipping just being a textured setup. But for the Master grip and also the 3M grip, it's very aggressive in itself that it's also a lot harder and difficult to actually lose the pistol, and at the same time, still keep everything stable from losing its sway or just dropping the pistol itself. That's pretty nice in my book. If you're familiar with using a 1911 or any other standard high kappa, you will still be familiar with the 2011 Stacatto. Mainly to actually engage the safety latch itself, you would need to rack the hammer to flip up the switch of the safety from either right-handed or left-handed operation. Now, again, just like any other 1911, you still need to engage a secondary safety, which is the beaver tail here, to be able to drop the hammer. Now, for the Stacatto 2011s in comparison to other high kappas, one thing that actually blows this out of the water is the trigger response itself. Mainly, once you rack the pistol, let's go ahead and see how far it goes just to actually let go of the hammer. It's basically non-existent itself, but let's go ahead and see what it looks like when we actually reset the wall. Again, a hair trigger pull. If you need to adjust your Hopup on the actual 2011 itself, it's just the same thing as disassembling any other 1911. Mainly is once you reach the actual half crescent of the slide itself, go ahead and pull the slide back, push the actual takedown lever itself, release it, slide it forward, and you're able to access your Hopup right there as a standard dial. Now to adjust it, to increase the hop up, all you have to do is just go towards the actual blowback housing itself. But if you need to decrease your hop up, just go ahead and put that dial towards the actual outer barrel or the tip of the front sight. To put it back together, slide it back in. Put your actual takedown pin back together. Slide it. You're good to go. What's beneficial to the 2011 Stacatto is the fact that it has an integrated magwell on the grip itself, making it a lot easier to reload the next magazine to help you get back in the fight. Now, as part of this video, we would actually go into the magazines to see what is capable of which magazines to use. The same thing I can say about when it comes to what parts would be TM spec that you can upgrade on the pistols themselves. Now, I did have my techs take a look at it, and also I did my own further research on it. Is one thing we noticed in common is we've seen is the hop-up chamber, the inner barrel, and the bucking can be changed to TM specs of any types of parts, mainly the Maple Leaf Crazy Jet. Now, in regards to the blowback housing unit and the nozzle, unfortunately that is more proprietary. And really haven't checked out in regards to the lower, but we're seeing that it's more proprietary on that end as well. To continue off to talk about internals and upgrade compatibility, a positive thing that comes into this pistol is the compression itself is absolutely good. At a point where if I were to pull the pistol slide itself, you'll notice that the nozzle is still sticking onto it. Still going through until it finally releases in that certain aspect of the point of the slide. But what does that mean? Well, for one thing is that the compression is so well that it keeps the FPS consistency really a straight dead line. Now, why is that positive in regards of it? Well, we don't have to worry about compression issue leaks or anything else because that is one issue that would drop your FPS on any other high kappa pistols or any other pistols in general. Now that we already talked about the upgrade compatibility with certain parts that you can see for your Stacatto, well, let's go ahead and talk about the magazine compatibility itself. Now, we're going to go ahead and start with the benchmark is the magazine that usually comes with it. Now that we have the green gas, let's go ahead and see what happens with the CO2 type and also the green gas variant. As always, it's always good. Let's go ahead and try the CO2 type. Still responsive. Now, for one thing that I noticed while doing a magazine compatibility test is that the fact that with the Jag Precision Combat Masters or the Pit Viper magazines, they will also work just as well. Still comes out pretty good. Now, on the other hand, unfortunately for the EMG type, which is the ones from the Combat Master, it still has a weird fitment issue and at the same time doesn't really cycle as well. Now, it doesn't seem like it on video, but for some reason the recoil is a lot less compared to like the Jag Precision magazine or the actual stock magazine that would come with it. Now, as last, let's just go ahead and check the Tokyo Marui style. As we've noticed that with the Tokyo Marui as well, it still functions, but you'll have certain slight light striking issues as well. Now, again, it still will functions, but it's still going to be not as good as the recoil or the FPS in regards to consistency. So far what we've seen, Jag Precision magazines or the actual EMG's type stocks. I'm using .20 gram BBs and green gas. And now for the Stacatto P. While chronoing both of these pistols, we notice on average we're looking at around from 300 to 330 feet per second with green gas. Now, for the CO2 type, we've seen that on average of being around 330 to 360. So please do be mindful of what FPS you're going to be needing for either the outdoors or indoor types. Now, the difference between whatever Stacatto model you want to purchase is the fact that if you're going to buy the green gas or the CO2 variant, which changes about the magazine itself and the tools that would be for it. CO2 would come with the Allen key, while the green gas is just by itself with a magazine. But here's the things that are basically in common with receiving inside your Stacatto. Mainly the Stacatto licensing card, as well to that the QR code to help out with instruction manuals to operate for safety procedures. As well to that, your actual sear spring on side to help increase the trigger response. And the armor bracket mount to help put any other red dots you want to put on there, as well to that the Loctite to help lock it in. Now, my final thoughts on the 2011 is kind of 50-50 in between, because there's so many options and selections you could pick between many of these models, either the green gas or the CO2 variant. Right now, I'm currently leaning to the green gas because it's more convenient, because I have TM magazines to go and easy to go out there and play. Meanwhile, I do like the idea of being the CO2 as a CNC mill for its actual slide and frame itself, which means it can withstand the stress. Now, the only concern I have is that both of these are proprietary on its nozzles and its blowback housings. But I digress, it's still a pretty clean setup. As well to that, the difference between the two on the price is what makes it completely the change of the actual market itself. While the green gas being around $145, the CO2 coming in at during the time of the recording is $220. Now, either way, these are pretty good looking pistols, I gotta admit, for being the Stacatto lineup. And as well to that, what do you guys think about it? Drop a comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe on our channel. And if you're looking for more products like these, check it out at airsoftmaster.com. My name is Mike. I'll see you guys in the next episode.
This video is brought to you by Airsoft Master.